does. Whew. That was a scary, stressful ending of what should have been a relaxing cruise to victory, but unfortunately, Inter Miami ended up drawing with Atlanta. 2-2 was the final score, and yeah, things look good in the first 60 or so minutes, and then I don't know. I guess we'll talk about maybe what went wrong, but welcome to the Heron Heads podcast, your first stop for all things Inter Miami. My name's Julio, and I'm joined today by some friends and fellow Inter Miami fans, Dave, Chris, and Jose. And on behalf of the guys, we want to thank you for joining us here tonight after this match. And a huge shout out to our chief Heron Heads, Matias, Chow, and Mighty V. Thank you so much for your continued generous support. And if you'd like to support us on Patreon, you will find a link in the description wherever you are listening, as well as a link to our merch store and our Discord server. So if you guys are interested in those things, check them out. So yeah, how is everyone feeling now after that match?
I think we got to shake it off a little bit because at the end there it got kind of close. But I guess it could have been worse with all the shots that they tried there. A couple were way too close for comfort. So I guess we're kind of lucky we came out with the tie with the way that looked at the end. But yeah, like you said, Julio, we had the upper hand here most of the match. I mean, we were up for most of the match. We looked like the better team. The beginning was a little shaky, but we looked like the better team for the most part. And then once Messi and Suarez came in, I was like, oh, this is a wrap. They're gonna at least score one more, and we're just gonna go to bed happy with the win, that much closer to the Supporters' Shield, that much closer to that record. And then now we're just kind of delayed a little bit, but it's just a delay. We'll get there.
Yeah, the big dogs came in, and it first of all, it definitely woke up the crowd, and I feel like it woke up Atlanta too, because they were really going like balls to the wall after that moment and really trying to rise to the occasion. And you saw it. They came out with an intensity that we hadn't seen the entire match. And it's unfortunate because we not only did we have the 2-1 lead, but we had a layup there for 3-1, and that would have been 3 points for us, and that would have been all she wrote. But kudos to Atlanta for doing an amazing job preventing that third goal from happening. And honestly, for on our side, kudos to our defense, because they did do a lot of things in this match, which when you're that depleted, you don't really expect to see. Calendar had a pretty good game, making some wild saves. I understand that he allowed 2 goals. The second goal, I don't blame him too much. That's on the defense for allowing that much space.
Mm-hmm.
But he made some really, really nice saves that are tough to get hands on the ball. Not only did he get hands, but he stopped the play and kind of avoided the second chance goals. And but I mean, it's you get the point, which stinks. You really want the 3, but when you have a lineup like we had today, you kind of are okay with just the 1 point.
And we had Sailor come in. Who had that on their bingo card? Not I. Jose, you're good?
This guy's he's writing stuff over there. He's getting ready to spew things. Jose, why don't you talk, because some of us are doing real things.
Yeah, I totally disagree with David. Literally, he had I'm just gonna get right into it. Yeah, he was the least of the match. I'm not even gonna ask you guys. He was the least of the match. 6.0 rating. It's probably his worst that he's ever had since he's been with Inter Miami. Yeah, that's who I'm looking at. Yeah, it's a tale of two. It's a tale of two teams. It's the tale of I don't disagree with David in the sense of I feel like we definitely got like a totally different Inter Miami versus Atlanta game the moment our big guns came in. I don't know what I don't know if it was just the way that we positioned them. I'm not sure. I think we were talking in the on our messages that like we were not moving the ball around like we usually do. Everybody looked lost in the midfield. Redondo, I don't know where we were putting him. I'm not sure. He seemed off. Alba at left wing, I think it was right. I think that's what I felt like, and with Negri behind them, it didn't work. It really didn't work. It's not that it didn't work. He didn't have. It didn't seem like he was pushing it very well. But if you have Alba, just put him at left back. You know what I'm saying? Put him at left back. I don't know. I look. Maybe we missed Tata. It could be a combination of a lot of things. It could be that literally, like David said on the messages, he said we woke them up. Like literally, the whole crowd erupted and they were all excited. That can't feel good being Atlanta United. Your whole crowd erupting because the opposing player just checked in. I don't know. It was a sleeping dog, and we woke him up. Not that it's a very scary dog by any means, but like
a Yorkie.
It's like but the Yorkie was sleeping. The Yorkie was sleeping, and we woke him up, and now he's barking everywhere, and he's driving me crazy.
We got nipped.
And we got nipped, and it was very annoying. It was very annoying. We had this game, and those two chances. It wasn't just one. It was definitely the one that Suarez had in the front of the goal. I feel like you get Suarez in front of that. We're usually gonna score there, right? So that was a break, but you could say the same thing on the other side, right? You could say the same thing. It did feel like Drake had a few saves that he had no business saving. It was just him and the opposing player, but it was just I don't know. It sucked. Look, ultimately, it was a tie game, right? It was a tie game, and it was a game that when we all looked at the lineup, we all said the same thing. This is horrible. It is what it is.
I said Atlanta sucks was my response to
so that was you, but
I said so does this lineup.
Correct. That's literally what Chris said. So it's like, you kind of look at it and you're like, all right, like I think they're just mailing this one in, but you still feel like you still feel like we should have had it. We should have had it the first 80 minutes of the game. We were in control and we should have had it. I hate 2-1s. I hate 2-1 leads, man. I hate 2-1 leads. It could change so quick.
It's the most dangerous lead in football, some might say. So
I think
one thing that I like.
2-0.
Yeah. Is it 2-0?
One thing that I liked was they did. I mean, I feel like we've had this conversation before where we wanted to see Negri and Alba on the same side, so that was fun to watch. Like these are the type of thinkers that we would have liked to see because it's something that hasn't been done, and it makes sense with the gaps in our team. The one thing that I would have loved to have seen is if Cello and Frey had swapped. If you have Cello more in the central defender spot and have Frey more out wide, I think that opens up the counters and a lot more offense. Because how many times did we see Cello running down the pitch and then again the play ends with him or he doesn't make a good pass? And that's something that I have more confidence that Frey can do a little bit better than Cello. And maybe Cello doesn't have the capability to play centrally. Maybe that's what it is.
I think he's too small.
I mean, we put freaking Noah Allen in center back.
Like, yeah, but given
excuse.
You have the option of having Frey there instead of Cello.
Right, but you can still. I mean, if you're okay with starting Noah Allen, then you should be okay with putting Cello at center back. That. I don't think that's a daunting ask, especially when I think the drop. Like, let's say if the options are Noah Allen or Cello at center back, the drop off isn't as bad as if you have Frey on the outside. Compared to Cello, you have way more offensive potential with Frey out there. And you don't really lose much with Cello as a center back.
And to add to your point, Dave, Cello, I feel like is a very sturdy. I don't feel like he is at all. Like, okay, we put Noah Allen at center back. I think
you're holding your breath.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cello, you feel good about Cello defensively. He's good defensively. So if you have him centrally, you're not too worried about him being out of position.
He had that yellow card early in the game, and it's funny.
That was so soft.
It was weak.
It was so soft. The ref had a horrible angle at that foul.
It was an excellent challenge, and I don't know if it threw him off a little bit because it has to, right? You don't want to get another yellow at that point.
Foul, yep.
But it's like, I had a great job.
I'm fine with the ref calling that a foul, but I think the yellow was rough, and he immediately gave us a makeup call on the McCarthy foul on the other side.
Yeah. I was gonna say that the yellows were flying early on, and undeservedly, but at least there was that makeup call. And I don't think we saw. I mean, I know Campana earned one later, but that was
And God knows we don't need any help in that department, right?
Yeah. So let me just touch on really quickly the Chelo Frey thing, and then I have a question I want to ask you guys. I noticed, and I don't know how often this happened.
Did you open up the show by the way?
Yes, I did. I
You
totally
sure did. You were there busy writing things.
Yeah. Thank you for that. But so I noticed at least once. I don't again know how often it happened, but I did notice almost like a rotation, like if the defensive line slid and Chelo got advanced, Frey also got advanced, and then we were playing with basically two at the back. This was obviously when we had possession of the ball, and our defenders that were hanging back were Negri and Christoph. So I did notice there was like a lot of sliding of the defensive line, and I do think there was a number of times where Frey and Chelo inverted, and then when Alba did come on, I think they only left him up in an advanced position for maybe half the time he was on. Maybe it was right around when Negri went down with like cramps or whatever it was that was sort of hampering him towards the end of the match. Alba almost exclusively stayed back. And then if he got forward, that's when the midfield got super stretched and was really weird. But I did notice Frey and Chelo inverting a couple times. So I know that did happen on occasion. It wasn't like, Chelo, you're playing center back exclusively like you're talking about. But I did notice kind of a interesting little wrinkle in the lineup. But speaking of the lineup, the question I wanted to ask you guys is, are you happy that the players were rotated to the extent that they were rotated? Are you happy that Messi and Suarez and Alba all started as substitutes? When, regardless of the outcome of the game, when the lineup came out, were you happy with the decision? I'll just quickly say I was.
I was surprised that they were on the bench. Honestly, all of them on the bench and all of them available. Because sometimes you'll put them on the bench kind of as a novelty and not really have them available to you. But yeah, I mean, I was okay with all of them being available. I was more shocked than anything that they all found their way onto the pitch.
Yeah, I was surprised Suarez was on there, honestly. I thought Suarez was the sure lock that was not going to see the pitch at all, not even the bench. So I was very surprised he was there, to be honest. And he actually played a good amount of time. They all did. They all played a decent amount of time in the second half. I expected Messi to come in after the whole pizza fiasco last season in Atlanta. And Alba's a trooper. He's cool. He's good to go in whenever and whatever many minutes. So I was surprised with them too. But Suarez, very surprised, especially with his injury history, the turf. I don't think we've seen him playing on turf in Inter Miami yet, if I'm not mistaken. So that was.
Didn't he jump on against one of these turf teams as a sub?
He
before?
played in New England?
I don't know. I don't remember. I didn't think he did, but comments correct us. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't think he's started on
they will.
one of these.
They for sure will. But yeah, I didn't like him out there, to be honest.
I disagree. I think he's a shark, and I think what he wanted to do was sharks don't swim backwards; they swim forward. And you know what they wanted to do? He's going for that record. He's going for not the record, the golden boot. That's it. That's what he wants, man. He almost got 18 today. Come on, man.
Unbelievable. I could not believe that ball did not hit the back of the net.
That should have gone in.
So stupid. Man, and I'm going to tell you right now, it would have been brilliant if just put him in and the guy scores goals. It is what it is.
It was a slam dunk.
Campana hates scoring. He hates scoring. He literally,
but you know what?
He reluctantly scored. No.
Jose, I got to get my money's worth.
No, I'm not. He's not even on. I don't even have him on the least of the match.
Look at that message.
Speaking of Campana.
Campana all-time Inter Miami goal scorer, baby.
Give the man. I'm gonna say right now, Mike. Give
contract
it
extension coming.
Please no. give it a few weeks, and the guy's gonna get passed
count
by
for
one of these guys. Robert Taylor probably will pass him. I don't know. At this rate, he literally has to always hit someone to get. It always has to deflect for him.
It's the element of surprise, Jose.
Yeah. The main thing is that his goals always hit the back of the net. That's all that matters.
His goals do always
hit the back of the net. They always do, yeah.
Fantastic.
And Mike, the Tata out thing, I think Dave is not. I don't know why he's not explaining it to you. So what he's saying is that like he's out on the yellow card.
Mike knows. Mike knows. He knows. He's saying that he's up there and he's.
But
still
for those of you that don't know,
talkie.
Tata was not on the sideline because of yellow card accumulation.
Because typically we would look at this and say, yes, the manager totally messed this up. I can't say it was Tata. I would more so say like, okay, like he probably gets a pass here because he wasn't even on the sideline. But yeah, man, that's yeah, I would have loved to have be dragging this guy, but it is what it is. It's
it does seem, and I know we rag on Tata, and I don't think he's a very good tactician in game, but it did seem that after the substitutes had been on for a while, the whole tactics just devolved into almost like preschool soccer.
Chase the ball. Chase
Yeah.
the ball.
It was like 6 people in attack,
which is fun.
4 people in defense. It's not fine because
mid-
it led
the
to
mid-
so many
not fine.
opportunities.
No, not
cavernous.
fine. I didn't say fine. I said that's kind of fun. It is fun.
No, it wasn't fun.
It was
fun for
crazy.
Atlanta. It was fun for Atlanta. You know why? Because they have a goalkeeper that can actually make mid-range passes over the top, and
Imagine that.
Busan absolutely shredded the press. He
You
just
know what it felt like?
over top
Julio,
of the press, and then Atlanta was 5-on-4 every time.
Julio, you know what it felt like? It felt like if you ever go to like LA Fitness and you're playing pickup basketball, and there's just these people they're on the other side of the court waiting for the It just felt like each time somebody got it was like a fast break every single time. I was like, oh my god, my heart literally
and that was
going to die.
was like the last 20 minutes of the game, including when Atlanta scored the equalizer. It was so spread, like the match was so spread, and it felt really disjointed. And I do think, again, Tata is not a tactician in my opinion, but he gives some sort of structure compared to what we saw tonight in the last 15 to 20 minutes of this match. This was as bad as I've seen, like the tactics to close a match. It felt like Atlanta was going to score the winner.
I mean, I kind of already did have a little rant on Drake. Literally, when David opened the show, he said, this was not a bad Drake calendar performance. I was like, literally the 6.0 match rating is the worst he's ever had. The worst, this guy. And yeah, and Julio's right. Like literally every single time he's passing it just always goes to the other team. It never. I don't understand why he just can't get an accurate pass. That's beyond me.
It's just not his game. His game is stopping the one-on-one
It's
chance that he
turnovers.
stopped tonight.
It's turnovers. That's his game. Turnovers.
Yeah. No. I said this earlier in the season. If a defense or an opposition is pressing and we play it back to Drake calendar to make a pass, they have won in their pressing because we will turn it over.
It's done.
He's not a passer, but he did.
What do you do
to
with
an extent?
What do you do with a soccer player that can't pass?
You put him as
You
a
put him at
goalkeeper.
goalie.
But he did make some big saves, although that first goal was unforgivable. Like it's just one that he needs to save.
And in my defense, I completely missed that goal. I didn't see that play happen.
It was bad, right between the legs.
Why?
I looked away for a split second, and then I just saw everybody celebrating.
Classic. Always happens. You always walk away right when they score the goal.
Just with calendar, just get nutmegged. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what happened. He got nutmegged.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I had known that
5
before. I
hole.
said he had a pretty.
Yeah.
I think that was -3, like sofa score. Even if he had a 9,
I saw him
-3.
make so many cool saves, and then the one goal I saw him concede was a hell of a strike.
it's just a
by
worldie.
Miranchuk. So
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, the second goal, nothing he could do. The first goal, he needed to do better. He had a couple plays where he commanded the box well, which I always like seeing. There was one that he kind of handled it a little weird, but still had it totally under control, or sort of like one-armed it.
he like dunked it to himself.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that first goal, I think, to Jose's point, I think that deducted him so many points in how he performed tonight that it's hard to say he had a great game. It's hard to say he had a good game because at the end of the day, that one.
Apparently, the ball got deflected. So
Yeah, it came off of Frey's arm, if I'm not mistaken.
also shouldn't have counted.
It should have been a penalty. One of Drake's strong suits, actually.
what are you gonna do?
We should be incensed that they didn't stop the play.
So let's talk about the goals. I didn't catch live the David Ruiz goal that opened the match, but it was a very nice play when I saw the replays of it. So, Chris, as a David Ruiz super fan, how did you experience that?
First, I thought I was offside because it was very, very close, but it was deflected. But even if it wouldn't have been deflected, I think he was still slightly on. I think he was still okay.
The
But
deflection would have made him offside. Like that was the deflection made it closer.
yeah.
And the thing is that I think he was also deflected by Campana. And I was like, oh my god, this Campana guy hates to score. He hates us scoring. He hates us.
But good for him, and perfect case of right place at the right time. Honestly, it just happened to be there. There's no one in front of him, so wide open goal. Hit the right side, and that's it. Went in. It was a pretty easy goal. I mean, if he would have missed that, it would have been pretty bad. But he played well for the most part. I didn't see too much bad. The beginning he was kind of shaky, and then he just kind of went up from there. He barely plays. I mean, he plays minimal minutes, so he's probably still getting his legs under him. But I think that goal kind of just got him to the next level. He played pretty good all match, and then he was eventually subbed out. I don't know what his rating was, Jose. I don't know if you saw that, but he had an okay game. I was happy with it, especially in the situation we were in. Can't complain.
Yeah, I mean that was a nice play, especially particularly the pass, the pass that went in right to his. I mean, it was perfect. I know it's deflected, but man, if he missed it, I agree, Chris. That would have been terrible.
Yeah,
and then I would have loved to have seen your apology on like it would have been funnier.
I don't apologize for him. I say when he sucks.
A lot, he probably didn't know what to do because it's been a while.
The sun was in his eyes.
He kind of did it right now. He was like, he needs to get his legs under him.
It was good to see David Ruiz score a goal again for Inter Miami.
Which leads us to least of the match.
I mean, you already said it, didn't you?
Spoiler alert. Right?
Without calendar.
Oh, without calendar. Okay.
Yeah.
Christoph?
These are surprising.
Christoph?
Okay, Chris?
I'll go with
Is this including subs?
I'll go with Robert Taylor. I didn't see anything from him today.
Not including subs?
I don't want to include subs.
Okay, cool. So I'll maintain I'll maintain.
Yeah, I'll do Robert Taylor.
Say negative.
No, totally wrong, David. Totally wrong, actually. Least of the match. Least of the match is Drake 6.0. I gotta say that one more time. If we're including subs, actually Suarez makes a list at 6.0 as well. They probably hate that he missed that goal. They're like -5.
He was the last substitute.
Yeah, he at 80th minute. Bright 6.4. Probably not a very good game for him, but he didn't have a bad game. I felt
he had some ugly turnovers is what I mostly noticed, and that's something I don't see from him.
That turnaround that he turned around and like started a fast break. I was like, oh my god, another fast break. Yeah, that was him. But he, obviously the numbers were there for the duels. We won the duels, 51%, 80% tackles won for us, which I attribute that most of the time to him. Honestly, he's always extremely on ball. Great. So
he was the lowest.
Outside of Drake.
Calendar, and then Bright, and then Robert Taylor was a good guess, 6.7 as always on this list.
Oh yeah.
You put Robert Taylor in the starting lineup, he will have least of the match ratings. It is what it is.
He did have. I thought he had a very poor game today.
What did Negri have that I was so far off?
Let's talk about man of the match.
Negri.
I don't want to say Negri.
Surely not Campana.
No, because he got the yellow.
He got the yellow.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's
David
why.
Ruiz. Did he have any egregious errors?
He had a foul or two.
Okay. So who we picking? Let's just say it. Let's go, guys.
I don't even know.
With
this is great.
Yeah, screw it. I'll go with Ruiz.
Okay, Dave. Someone else?
Not Drake.
Not Drake. Not Bright.
I would say. You know what? I'm gonna say Ian Frey because I did like what he did defensively.
Say that.
I was gonna say. We're gonna find out.
I'll go with Ian Frey. That's what I was gonna say.
I'll say someone else.
You're wrong anyway.
Go wrestle.
Frank Negri 7.3 and David Ruiz 7.4.
All right.
Negri, I'm surprised that Negri
has
just been solid.
Those are standout performances, by the way. Like that.
No,
was
not at
like,
all.
That's like seven, like our best.
But I think
David Ruiz. That's crazy.
I think it goes to the fact that the second the second half of the second half was so poor. Like it really dampens how I feel about this match as a whole, because I thought we did such a good job for the first 65 minutes of this match to then sort of let it slip away. Like
It's
if you had told me
funny.
before the match that we were gonna roll out the lineup that we rolled out with, get a draw, I would have been fine with it. But given how the match played out, it kind of sucks, man.
It wasn't me that missed it. It was argue a sofa score. That wasn't me. But yeah, then it's funny you say that about the first half and the second half, Julio, because Atlanta actually had 1.64 xG like for the whole game. We
All
had
in the second half.
We had 1.72, right? So we had more opportunities, but they had 1.54 of those in the second half.
Totally.
Probably in the last 10 minutes also.
When they showed the halftime stats, on the broadcast, and Inter Miami had over 1 xG if I'm not mistaken, and Atlanta was like barely scraping the amount of xG that they had. It was all the second half, man, and it was all the second half of the second half. Like I said, it was like very obvious that, sort of to the point, when Messi subbed on, it sort of lit a fire under this Atlanta team, and they started really putting it to us. And there were a lot of rotational players in, like, let's not kid ourselves, that had already been playing for a long time, and they didn't get that burst of energy from Messi and the other superstars coming on. So unfortunately, it left us looking slow and second to every 50-50 ball.
And this was like the argument for what we usually want to see when we start with our stars like that. We start with Suarez, Alba, Messi, Busquets, and then when you supplant them with the young guys, that's the effect that you want to see. What happened with Atlanta today is what usually happens with us: is we take off our older guys or leave the older guys on and inject speed and energy around them, and it really makes a difference. And unfortunately, we were depleted today. And the guys coming off the bench aren't the ones usually bringing that speed and energy.
Once Atlanta tied it, sorry, Chris. Once Atlanta tied it, it was like, okay, cool. We have all the pieces to get a third goal. We have Suarez, we have Messi, we have Alba playing in an advanced position. But then every time they played a ball up to the top and Suarez was like from the midfield having to go and do something, I was like, he's not going to get there in time. He's not pacey enough to get there. And he had the great chance, but like, to the point of the energy, the sort of the pace, these guys just don't have the pace, with the exception of Alba. It's like expecting Suarez to be the burst of energy is not necessarily what you're going to get, except for when he's already like in the box. Like, obviously he's extremely dangerous in the attacking third, but getting to the attacking third, carrying that play forward is not what he does. I thought, to that point, Messi did a lot of really good finding of space, and although, and we can talk about this too, we played the ball to him way too much in the attacking third. Getting the ball to him in midfield to carry it up to the attacking third, I think we did a really good job of that today. And obviously Messi knows positionally where to be, but he found pockets of, not, I guess, like giant pockets. Like, he found acres of space to then carry the ball forward.
He does a good job of really like navigating tight spots. And that's something that you like to see from Messi, and you expect to see it from Messi. But I totally agree that what we were worried about when Messi came back was us reverting to that Messi pendencia type of play. And you can see the whole team wanted Messi to score that third goal and put the game away. And maybe for the crowd and all that stuff, I don't know. But they have to let the game like dictate the play. Like, you can't force it. I understand he's the best player on the planet, but if it doesn't make sense, you can't do it. And there were opportunities. There was plays to be made there, and everybody in the stadium knew what they were trying to do there. And that's never gonna really benefit you as a team when the whole stadium knows what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I don't think it's a long-term strategy. Like, obviously Messi can make magic, which he almost did on a number of occasions. He still dribbled past the entire defensive line a number of times, but you can't necessarily rely on that. There, like you mentioned, there were a couple of plays where if a different pass was chosen, or a different recipient of a pass was chosen, could have led to a more dangerous opportunity. I remember specifically Negri had one that I thought was Alba in the moment, but Negri had one where if he played it across, Campana was open on the back post, it would have been a very difficult ball to play, granted. But he tried to force it to Messi and it got intercepted. And there were a number of occasions like that felt like as the match wore on became more and more frequent. And they need to let me preface this by saying this is a highly rotated squad, and a lot of the players that were playing are not going to be playing when the games matter most. But this team does need to learn how to play with Messi and have it come naturally, so it doesn't feel like they can key in on those passes.
Yeah, and what I was going to say a little while ago when we were talking about players getting gassed and all of this, that usually the young guys come in later on. The young guy that I did not like today, honestly, and I almost chose him as one of the lower rated players was Kramaski. And Gray actually mentioned up top, he disappointed in the last 10 minutes. He looked gassed. He was just over it. And we see it often from him because he gives so much throughout the first half and the beginning of the second half of the match. He puts it all out there. And towards the end, you usually have to sub him out because he's just gassed. He can't go anymore. One of the ones that Julio, you pointed out in our Discord, if you haven't joined Discord, go join it, was the fact that he had a shot to take. He was in the box, he had a shot to take, and he decided to pass it off to Redondo. He didn't have that killer instinct. I don't want to say he doesn't have it. Maybe he still has to bring it out. I don't know. But he didn't have that killer instinct. It would have been nice to see a shot there. We saw a bunch of shots just flying across the goal, hitting someone in the stands everywhere. And it would have been nice to see him take the shot. Maybe he's the one that gets it on goal finally. But I want to see that killer instinct from him. And I agree. He left me wanting more. Especially he's our young up and comer. He's a guy that we want to see more from, and we didn't see it again today as a starter. I know David said it multiple times that he looks better as a sub. Maybe that's just what he is, but I want to see more from him, and I didn't see it tonight.
And he just signed the contract extension through 2027. You
Yep.
would think that they gave him starting minutes, they gave him a chance to really put the stamp on the contract, like I earned this thing. And I know he had a good run last season, but you haven't seen it yet this season. You want him to take that step forward, and it would have been really, really, really nice for him to have done something with that chance, but whatever, it'll have to be next time. And his role right now, if we're being honest, it's a sub. It kind of goes on to that, and that's why the last 10 minutes you'll see a player like him fade away completely because he does play with such energy, and it's just it's tough. The group that we had today and the way we trotted them out on the field, it wasn't best for a tight game like this.
Hey, and when you guys were talking about the guy that these guys had great seasons last year, Ruiz and Gramaski, right? But they also had a lot of run. You know what I'm saying? Whereas this year we're just putting them in spots. You hope, right? I agree, Dave. Like they would have been great. You literally just signed a contract. It would have been amazing. The guy comes out and scores a goal. He's a Miami kid. Everybody's rooting for him. It would have been nice, but. I don't know I don't know how much he can grow with the way that we're like the strategy with him right now in this club. I don't know if we're helping him or not. You know what I'm saying? Because would it be better if he's in a team that's probably getting more action?
There's pros and cons. It's an education in it of itself, being on the same pitch and training facility with players like Messi, Busquets, Campana, Suarez, Alba, Campana. Like that's the one.
Learning so much.
It's an education in of itself, just being with those guys.
Maybe that's why he didn't take the shot.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the good.
He would have scored for sure. He would have scored for sure.
But it helps to be around those guys and glean as much as you can from them. Yes, it helps to play, but there's no guarantee that he's going to play. Remember, he's extremely young. There's no guarantee he's going to play for any other club either. So I think that he's in a good spot with really good talent around him, with the support of his family around him too, being local. Like there's a lot of good in being here, and I don't think that the cons really hurt as much.
And Gomez is leaving after the season, so that's going to be an open spot again that he could fight for in the offseason to take as his own as well.
It's going to be tough when we bring in Kevin De Bruyne to replace Gomez, and I don't know if he'll
you heard it here first, folks.
You said it so naturally, like it's so.
Jose liked it.
I love it.
He started blushing.
I mean, you can only say Ramos so many times and not Angel Di
know.
Maria until like sometimes you gotta throw a different name out.
KDB, just, why not? But yeah, you guys done with this game? I wanted to move on to the next game.
Yeah, I don't think there's much else to say. Heavily rotated squad. We got the big dogs onto the pitch. I am a little surprised with how much they played, but I'm glad everyone came out healthy. We didn't suffer new injuries, I don't think. Which
Cello,
thankfully,
Christoph.
no, I think Cello was fine.
Christoph got spun out of his ankles.
Christoph's so bad, man.
Oh my God! I have one more thing to say.
Okay, go for it.
Robert Taylor, right back. Quick reaction, go.
It wasn't.
No.
I mean, it's coming off of a set piece. He's just covering field. He's not playing right back.
No, Julio. We're not talking about him playing right back. I'm talking about the play where he was right back, where he was covering.
Oh, I missed.
Cello.
Oh,
my
yes.
Hey, he kept the player in front of him.
Yeah, he did fine.
Chris.
He did
They
fine.
didn't score. They didn't score.
They didn't blow by him.
You're right.
Fine.
He spun. Yeah, but I mean, he stayed there.
He did more than Yedlin did against Houston.
True.
That guy reminded me of. Have you guys ever watched The Weeknd, the music video, or no, in the Super Bowl where he was literally in the performance and he was just in a maze? That literally reminded me of Robert Taylor, like just getting like,
He did fine.
He kept the player in front of him.
All right.
I'm fine with it.
The one with Christoph was terrifying. Like that's the one that I was just.
It
like,
wasn't even a bad touch. He just misread where the attacker was going and just played it to him.
It looked like his brain and his legs were not in agreement with what to do. And his head was going this way, his legs. I'm like, oh
It was
no,
not good.
He's just gonna collapse.
But yes, we can move on from this match. I'm fine with the draw. Our magic number, by the way, is 9. We need 9 more points, regardless of what anyone else does, to secure the supporter shield. We have 5 matches left. So, Jose, presumably, let's talk about the next match.
And how much more for the record, which is what we all really care about.
I already forgot what the record was. So
73 points. All right. So what we have next is NYCFC.
Sorry, 9 points puts us at 72. So we need 10 points to get to 73.
So we need to win 4 out of 5, basically. Well, 3 and then tie it 2
We
games.
need to not lose
the rest. Well, and win some. All right. So we have NYCFC next 2 p.m. Saturday. If anybody wants to travel or anyone lives in NYC, I know we have some listeners in Philly, I want to say. But if you guys want to go, it's for the 400 section, $120, cheapest tickets. So 400 section. I predict that we will do a 4-3-3. How about that? We should have our folks back. I would guess, right? We just literally just tied this game. I think we're gonna come out and be a little bit upset, right? That's what I'm thinking. So I'm gonna put Alba. He's gonna start left back. I think Boosie's gonna be able to play again, right? He's gonna be off of the yellow card accumulation. I want to see him at center back. I want to see Frey back there again. I enjoyed watching him today. Cello at right back. Gresso, Bright, Redondo in the middle, and Suarez, Messi, and our team. That's what I got. I was totally wrong last time, so expect it.
This time you're going to be right. I agree. I think everyone's going to play. I mean, we need everyone to play. We can't lose, right? So we need everyone to play. It is a short turnaround, but that's why they rested everyone today. I think they played a little more than what I expected today, but at the end of the day, they didn't play the whole match. No one got injured. Everyone came out safe. So we're on to the next match, and I think that's the one you got to win. NYCFC is better than Atlanta, so we need our big guns in there, and we need the 3 points at the end of the day if we want to stay going after this shield, because Cincinnati just won today, which is not good. What was the other team? There's another big team that was right behind us. Columbus won as well. Yeah, Columbus won as well. So, we need the 3 points, and Saturday is the time to get it.
Yeah, I will say NYCFC, while they're a better team, they've been in not so great form. Today, they lost to Philadelphia 5-1. Previously tied with DC 1-1, lost to Columbus 4-2, tied with Chicago 2-2, lost to Columbus in the Leagues Cup.
So there are goals to be had.
They have not won in over a month, and that was in the Leagues Cup. So
you're saying they're due.
And in the MLS, they actually haven't won. That can't be right, since July 3rd.
It's possible. Why not?
A long time.
Because of the Leagues Cup break.
I believe it.
Probably.
I believe it.
Yeah. So a lot of draws. So let's win. Let's win. And I agree. I think I think our A squad is going to play. I think, and I expect
Gomez is hurt still, right?
Yeah, he had the hamstring injury towards the end of the Philadelphia match, so we'll see if he's fit. But I think for everyone that's fit and not off on yellow card accumulation anymore, everyone's going to play, barring perhaps Gomez. And I expect to win, obviously.
I definitely expect to win. Vengeance.
I always expect to win.
Yeah.
No, we know with your predictions.
One up you. How about that?
I love it. So yeah, that's that. But we will probably still be live. I don't think we've spoken about this, guys, but I imagine Saturday night to talk about the match. There's almost no way we can all do it in the afternoon. So we will likely be live around the same time we usually do our post-match reactions, but it won't be right after the match. So for those of you that like tuning in, it'll just be in the evening Eastern time as usual, not immediately following the match.
Does anybody know when Rojas?
I think he's done for the season. I don't think he's eligible to come back because of the exemption that we've received on his salary and also as a DP. So I don't think he's eligible to return this season, given the designation.
Maybe with Campana being taken off of DP, maybe he can get on.
I don't think he's eligible to return because of the salary exemption that we received by him being
so for salary
essentially on injured reserve. He has been doing one-on-one trainings on the side during the open practices, but I don't think he's coming back this season. I don't know the MLS rules that well, so I don't know if he's even allowed to return or not.
Fair.
All right. So with that said, an okay night from Atlanta, 2-2 draw for Inter Miami, and 9 is the magic number, guys. So we will see you guys Saturday evening after the match against NYCFC. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Heron Heads podcast, your first stop for all things Inter Miami, and we will catch you on the next one. Have a good night, y'all.